I grew up in a broken home. My mom and dad divorced when I was 7, and my mom was an alcoholic and addict most of my childhood, right? And that's what I learned. I learned from her how to party, how to drink. We started at 13. I think I've had my first drink. Anyways, fast forward. Um, I think by the time I was 30, I started using drugs and drinking even more just to I had been in a bad marriage that ended. And then I kind of went off the deep end with all that. And through the drugs and alcohol, I ended up pregnant with Jackson. And when I ended up pregnant, I was like, this is my way out. He's my saving grace. So I had decided that's when I wanted to get clean and sober. It was hard because I still had all of my old friends around me. I still had the same job at the bar that I worked at for 7 years. I had been in it for a long time. But I only started using hard drugs for about 6 months before I became pregnant with Jackson. But I knew if I hadn't become pregnant, I'd been probably in jail or dead. Easy. Because of the people I was with. I guess when I cleaned myself up, I had Jackson. I lost most of my family support because of the drugs and alcohol, except for my dad. But my dad was also dying with cancer. And so I became his caregiver when I had Jackson. And he supported us, Do you guys remember in 2012 when we had that really bad ice snowstorm? We were up at my dad's property and we were stuck there for about a week. And when I finally was able to get out, I had to go to work. And I worked for the Postal Service at the time. And I had left in my postal Jeep. I was driving down the road going 20 miles an hour and I hit black ice. And I rolled the Jeep and I broke my neck. I was lucky because when the surgeons went in and did the surgery, they figured out I was a millimeter away from hitting the spinal cord. And I didn't sever that, but they, my neck is fused together. Anyways, Jackson was 9 months old and I couldn't care for him. And I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. And my mom, who was still drunk and high, was trying to put me in a nursing home. But my brother flew in from DC and he managed to get one of my elderly aunts, a second cousin aunt, to take us both in to care for us. And she cared for us until March, so that was in January. And in March, we went back over to my dad's because he was getting ready to pass. Which, he survived cancer for a long time, but my dad's gone, but he always was supportive regardless. He just didn't want me to hurt myself, but he never gave up on me. I was so broken. I lived with my dad's roommate. None of my family still trusted me. I think that was the hardest part about getting involved in the drugs and stuff is I lost everybody's trust, and that hurt the most. And I didn't have any support. And I tried to make ends meet. And my dad's roommate, he drove me to my doctor's appointments. He helped care for my son. But he was an elderly man too, and it was a lot for him to do. But fast forward to July. It was July 2012. I was at rock bottom. I was past the drugs, the alcohol, but I was at rock bottom. I didn't think I could be a mom anymore because I couldn't care for my kid. And I'd asked my dad's roommate, please take me to this church. I heard about this church. And my whole plan was to show up at this church and give my kid away. And I did. But I drove to the church and I handed my baby, who was a little over a year old now, to this little old lady. She's sweet as pie at the front of the circus tent. It was a summer revival. And I said, here, I can't do this anymore. Please take him. And she's like, she had said something and I said, no, you please just take him. I can't do this. I can't be a mom. I thought somebody else could be a better mom. I do, and I always have. Yeah, I just was like, I couldn't pick him up hardly, you know. I don't know. It was hard at the time. Yeah, I couldn't provide for him. Like, I would think I was making $53 a week at that point, and that was like not with any financial assistance from the government or anything at that point. It was the medical pay from the post office. She took him, but she told me, I'm gonna take him. She's holding him like this. I'm gonna take him, and you're gonna walk in there, and these 3 ladies are gonna follow you. And when you come out, you're gonna take him home. And I was like, no. And she insisted I went in there, so I said, fine. I threw my hands up, I went inside, and there was worship music going on. And I'm standing there by myself, just listening to the music, and I just felt a flood of emotion. It was just the weirdest, like, waterfall in my body, just everything draining down to the ground. And then these 3 women came around me, and they laid their hands on me, and they started praying. They were speaking in tongues and speaking regular and praying over me. And I thought, gosh, are these ladies fortune tellers? Because she's telling me all about my past. And she finished praying, and she was telling me about my now. Then she finished praying, and then this lady's telling me about my future. And I was just like, I didn't know what that all was. I mean, this is like the first time I've been in church since I was like a kid. And when I was a kid, you go in, you go to Sunday school, you leave. At the end of it, they were like, okay, Bonney has your baby, she's outside. And I walked out, and I took him home. And they said, you're coming back the next day. And the next day I went back. It was a healing and recovery ministry. And I never left. I stayed there for 5 years. And I took my kid home every single day, every single time I left church. So that's where I was saved. I think that day, like, something came over me, and I was just like, okay, I can do this. I don't know what this is. I don't quite know what this is, but it's something bigger and better than me that is going to help me through it.